As we go on in life, we make changes. Little wonder they say if you are a rigid person, you belong into the cemetery. That's the only place you find rigid people. People that are alive are flexible people. That is why we are flexible human beings. And as such, there should be changes on a regular basis. Now we are talking about, in quote, Betta Gate. But the thing is, we need to look at it in depth. Fine, the news is rife out there. Everybody is saying in Ombe they are not good, this is not good, that is bad, that is bad. Fine, I concur to that. But fair enough, we have two agencies of government, vis-a-vis the EFCC and the ICPC. They are doing a good job in unraveling what is happening in there. The best of the gist, the best of whatever you want to call it, either a Betta Gate or whatever gate you want to call it, the best will come out when we get the report from those two government agencies. Because all we're getting these days is a lot of flack from social media. And social media, good as it is, has a lot of fault therein, because fake news abide there a lot of fake news. But what we're discussing this morning bothers on the fact that we should look at the situation closely. When I say closely, real, like you, to use your word, beam a searchlight on what is really happening. I would like to say one thing to Nigerians. The element of Betta Edu and the funds therein, that the funds didn't go through due process, this and that. We need to look back a little bit. Because when we say we have a systemic failure, not necessarily in terms of this, in terms of Nigeria, holistically. When I say systemic failure, over the years, there are a lot of practices over the years that were carried on by all governments in power. The administration comes in and then say, oh, what is going on here? They toe the line and then they move on with it. Situations like this will take us back to the drawing board so that we can rejig and reset all those situations in administration of governance so that Nigeria can be a better place. But what bothers me, and what I want to happen this morning, is that element of us as Nigerians. One, as Nigerians, we are just citizens. Nigerians as politicians, politicians as leaders in governance. Little wonder you were saying average Nigerians are saying, oh, let us beam the searchlight on Bumi Tunji Ojo. Let me dwell on that. You see, the factor most people are saying out there is the fact that they are quoting Schedule 5 of the Constitution that says a code of conduct of public servants that they should not be in business while in the business of governance. I quite agree with that. But we need to look closely. When I say closely, I mean closely. Unless, I will say this to the average Nigerian out there, unless you are looking for political jobbers, people that don't have business, they don't have anything they are doing on their own. Little wonder, once this party is in governance, they jump into that party because they are a political jobber. If that governance or the party goes and another party comes, wins the election, they jump into that party again because they do not have any business or anything doing, either as professional or as an entrepreneur. That is what makes them jump from party to party, because they are political jobbers. But in the case of a man that has a job, that is a professional, you are a professional now. If you go into politics, that does not take it from you that you as a broadcaster, when you leave politics, what do? You come back to your broadcasting and you continue your broadcasting. So in the case of this man in question and his company, Nigerians are saying, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. He went on air and said, when I was coming in, I guess he did that when he was going into the National Assembly. He rescinded his executive.
But is he a sleeping partner?
Let me tell you one thing. That is his company.
But based on the requirement of the Constitution,
okay,
you excuse yourself.
Okay.
You can't become a sleeping partner. But it's a sleeping partner in that new planet world company. Because in an interview granted, he talked about the fact that his wife is a woman, which means he's still an extension of himself.
There is no gainsaying about that. New Planet is a company that was registered by him and his family. by the Constitution, when he was going to the National Assembly, he recused himself from his position in the company. That does not mean the company is not alive. The company is alive. He is not running it because he is running the affairs of Nigerians as a member of the National Assembly and presently as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are not at divergence here. What we're saying is, for you to be a professional with your own company, politics does not take your company away from you. I will tell this to the average Nigerian out there. How many of you have businesses and you go into politics? Do you sell your company because you're going into politics? If you do that, that would be a very stupid thing to do. All you do is leave your company. One man doesn't run a company.
Yeah.
Even a little entrepreneur where you sell something at a corner shop. It's either you have your son, your daughter, or you have somebody there, 1 or 2 or 3 people. Not to talk of a situation where a company has about between 20, 100 or 1,000 people on the payroll. So your absence does not negate the activities of the company per se. The company runs, which was what the man said, that my company runs, my wife is in charge. Check it, my wife is in charge.
I totally agree with. His wife is in charge. But the major thing is, when we look at the antecedent of the company, in the last 5 years, have the company ever done business with the humanitarian ministry?
How old is humanitarian ministry?
The answer is no. So how come all of a sudden, when he's now the interior minister, they started doing business with the humanitarian ministry? Is he not using his power of office as a minister to also influence contract that gets to his company?
I will tell you one thing for free.
Yeah.
His company is a professional company.
Yeah.
That knows its onions and then good for the verification that the ministry wants to do. Yeah. 1. 2, it is not his company alone that is getting the contract to do those jobs.
Yeah.
There are about maybe 8 to 10 of them. That tells you that it is well spread. 1. 2, the fact that you're saying, oh, maybe he used his position to do this, I will not concur to that. I will not concur to that. Because in life, I know you. My name is Bola. Your name is Tolu. You are my friend. You are my brother. Irrespective of where I am, if I need you, I will ask your favor. If I don't need you, I'll leave you alone. The element of saying, oh, because he is this, because he is a minister, he's using his position to get that job. Are you telling me all the other 10 people, they are ministers of the Federal Republic, and that is why they got the job? Don't let us be myopic. Don't let us be narrow-minded.
But we know what is the requirement if you want to get a job from the government.
Of course.
You are supposed to tender, the bid to the tender board, where they also present the bid outside. Was there no confirmation? Is there any truth in the fact that process was not followed because of his influence as Minister of Interior?
No. Don't get it wrong. If the contract had been given to just one minor company, one company that is his own company, I will have danced to what you're saying. But from what you're saying now, that was due process followed, that is a case for the ministry in itself. If you are giving me a job, you know that I am good on the job, and you're saying, oh, Mr. Bakari, can you do this for us? I'll be glad to do it, because I am in business to do business and make money and have an income therein, so that it's not just me that is feeding on it, my family is feeding on it, and the family of all those that I have employed, they are all feeding on it. So when it comes to the element of due process, go and ask Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs how they got to that level.
In a Senate claim, would Tunji Ojo not have resigned based on this involvement?
You see, the thing is, we are quick to say in Senate claims. The idea is this: has he committed any offense that warrants him to resign? I will tell you one thing. Average Nigerians are saying, oh, he has a company and his company was given a job. What is wrong with that? Nothing. My own thing. That is one with the education I want to give to Nigerians now is, do you want professionals in government, or do you want people that are political jobbers? When a man does not have anything doing, he will be in politics. He will not give us the dictates of politics. He will just be there just for the money. I will tell you this thing. This man we are talking about, what do we call him lately? The star boy of the administration. Within 6 months, he has effected some changes I did not know. I had to go read it. He has effected some changes that made me swear I can say, oh, if this guy should last there for 4 years, he's going to do a lot of things. We had a problem in our correctional centers where we have too many people in our prisons that cost us millions, if not billions, to feed. That is one. Two, about 60 or 70% of them are people awaiting trial. People that are in situations that if they had been able to go to court and then a judge has sat on it, maybe they would have been released after 6 months or 3 months. Some of them have been there for years. This man came on board and said, if it is a fine that is due this guy to gain his freedom, he went out and then via CSR from some multinationals and some big companies, they paid for those people and they were released at no kobo to the federal government. This same man again went ahead and made sure that rather than some people fleecing us from, I've been around for close to 7 decades now, from time immemorial, they've been fleecing us for passports. Even when the passport is 10 naira, you end up spending like 25 naira before you get it. That is if you get it at all. But the man has made it ICT compliant, because that is the world we are living right now. Go online, do this, and this is what is going to happen to you. You are going to get your passport. That brings to the element of what you said earlier.
Does that make him a saint?
I am not a saint, but I am not.
So
I am not a devil. I'm not a devil either.
That doesn't mean you will not throw away the baby with the bathwater.
That means that he is doing his job as a minister, irrespective of his company getting jobs wherever they want to get the job. He is a professional in that field, and he has left the company. My wife, you're a director, executive director. Continue with your executive directorship in the company. I am going on a national level to go and deliver to my people as a Nigerian, and for God's sake, the man has delivered. How come everybody, print media, electronic media, were saying, oh, that guy is a star boy of the administration, and all of a sudden he's no longer your star boy, you want to castrate him. You are even believing in his statement of saying, put in resignation. Based on what? Based on the fact that my company, I can tell you, everybody, I'll say it to Nigerians, everybody that is anybody in the National Assembly on the pedestal of governance, that is politicians that are in governance, that will probably come in for 4 years or for 8 years, any sane politician within those periods should have a business doing. If you don't have a business doing, you are in governance so that you will rip off the average Nigerian. That is why we need people like this, that if he leaves governance today, he goes back home and falls back on his business. If a man does not have anything to fall back on, that is why we have a mess in our politics. That is why there is no ideal. The ideology is not there, it is dead, because you don't have any, politicians don't have anything doing. Like they say in Yoruba, oh, Nishe Lowo. You have nothing doing. If you have nothing doing, you would die in politics and be waiting for government to feed you and your family till you die. This is not the kind of man that man is. He has a business to fall back on. So when it comes to the element of saying, oh, he shouldn't resign, that is between him and his conscience. But from my own,
but we are the conscience. We are the people. We are the masses.
Yeah,
so
you can say what you want.
No matter how good what he is doing presently might looks like. But the fact remains that he's involved. He has used his position to influence something.
To me, that's hypothetical.
And that is no reason for him to tender his resignation.
That is hypothetical.
We don't need to wait for because we are condoning this because there's a systematic failure like I said in the Senate crimes. This man would have stepped aside for proper investigation to be done, and I think that's what the government should do at this point in time. So tell him
if you are telling me that's what the government should do, then you wait for the government to do that. In 2 instances, in quote, Betta Gate, 2 officers of government have been told to step aside. Because pending investigation. Because that is what I like, pending investigation. When the investigation of those 2 agencies, EFCC, ICPC, comes to bear, then we can follow through. In his own case, it's like a media trial. At times this thing has an advantage, at times there is a disadvantage, because people spread a lot of either fake news or fooleries or TikToking or whatever. Anything goes. You can say anything. You can abuse Mr. President on this thing and then it goes. The idea is, why are you clamoring that this man should resign? The man feels, I have a job to do to deliver to Nigerians, so my resignation is not in order. If Mr. President feels I should go, the man will tell me to go. Because all the ministers are the prerogative of Mr. President.
Then if the man is truly out there to serve the interest of the people.
That's right.
And the people are crying wolf because of his involvement. Don't you think he should dance to the tune of the masses? The
masses need to be educated. They need to be sensitized. They need to be orientated. In most cases, most people that believe in this don't think too deep. I respect your kind of person. You think deep. Little wonder you're a journalist, you are a media person. You think deep. The average Nigerian does not think deep. Anything that flows, they just flow with it. The man knows, I have not done anything to warrant resignation. That is people's trial. So social media trial. You should resign. You should resign. Did you employ him? Mr. President employed him. And Mr. President is an astute man that knows his onions. Little wonder he is our president. If he is due to be fired, Mr. President will fire him. If he is not due to be fired, let us enjoy what he has brought to the table in the Ministry of Interior.
Okay, we are talking about some of the innovations he has brought to bear since he came on board as the Minister of Interior. No doubt about that. He has done massively well in that area. But going forward, looking at this dent on his image, and looking at the way things are right now, what will you say is the honorable thing for him to do?
To rephrase your language, there is no dent on his image. Okay. What I believe in life is, when you see challenges should normally and naturally bring out the best in you. The man has seen the challenge on ground. Nigeria has seen the challenge on ground. Nigeria is going to make changes in the humanitarian affairs. Nigeria is going to make changes in the way things are done, in the way we take care of the populace, because the populace is there to benefit from that Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. We will rejig it. I'm talking like a Nigerian. If we don't make mistakes, where will you learn from? Nowhere. When you go through challenges, you learn. When you make mistakes, you change your attitude. Little wonder I said earlier, if you're a rigid person, you belong to the cemetery. If you're alive, you're fluid, you should be able to dance to the mood of changes. The man has seen what is going on. He has seen the clamoring of Nigerians. Nigerians are shouting, help us. You go home. Go. Did you employ him? If you did not employ him, leave Mr. President alone.
Then how do citizenry hold accountable our public officers? Because if you are saying on the
what we're doing now is we're bringing out the best in them. We're bringing out the best in them.
We are doing major trial, and we've seen a dent in the career of somebody who think is a wonderful administrator. But we've seen some of the things that happen, and this is not the first time. We have seen cases in the past that also involve major public servants. And how do we start to hold them accountable for the action? Is the process
you just said it all. Situations like this is what has brought the average Nigerian out to say, we don't like this, you should resign. But that does not mean what we are saying is what is going to carry through. What is going to carry through is the situation in itself, the nitty-gritty of the situation in itself. I'll repeat myself. Mr. President looked at the two officers in humanitarian affairs and told them, hey, stand aside. Let me do my investigations, and when I'm through, I'll know what to do with you. That is the man's prerogative. That is Mr. President's prerogative. In his own case, Mr. President has that prerogative about his person. And I've told you here, time and again, that this is a challenge that will fine-tune whatever is happening in that ministry. If this hadn't occurred, we wouldn't know anything. If the devil hadn't left heaven, we wouldn't know the difference between good and bad. So for every situation on earth, it is a learning process. It is a learning curve. The average Nigerian should learn from this. Himself as a minister of the Federal Republic, he should learn from this. Even those that were told to step aside while investigation is going on, they should learn from it. Even Mr. President himself, who appoints them, he's going to learn from it. Because if you remember what Mr. President told them, I am here for the renewed hope agenda. I am here to make sure Nigeria works. If any of you does not work well, I won't blink before I tell you to go home. That is his own, Mr. President's prerogative. Let us give Mr. President that prerogative of saying, if he finds anybody wanting, either with Tunji Ojo or with anybody, any minister at all, Mr. President, this is from you, from me to you, sir. go ahead, fire them.
But in the light of some of the statements you made and some of the things in the line of discussion, we talked about the fact that we should not have jobless people running for political office.
Of course.
People do have something to go back.
If you are a jobless man, you are bound to do, because you have the mentality of a jobless person.
If every politician happens to be using their position or probably running contracts with government, then we would have, in a few years' time, would not have a Nigeria state.
What you're saying is they will corner the contract market.
If Bumi Ojo could have, just like you say, you keep saying that he didn't use his influence, but if Bumi Ojo could have used his influence to get that job from the Ministry of Military Resources,
what's wrong with that?
Another minister can also use the same thing because they also have business they are running. Do you think government should stop anybody once you assume office from taking contracts from government? Once you're a public office holder.
Let me clarify this. Government is the highest spender when it comes to procurements.
Yeah.
Even that is the job of government. Yeah. After paying civil servants,
government has no business
in business. Yeah. After paying civil servants,
yeah,
which is a recurrent expenditure,
yeah,
the rest of the money is used for what? In contracts. Yeah. That is the job of government, to give out contracts, yeah, to the populace. That is where we as professionals, that is where we get our meal. Yeah. And that is what is happening. The situation on hand that because he is in government and you are talking about a company which he is a part of. There is no gainsaying
about that.
There is no gainsaying. He is a stakeholder. But as an executive, he is not. His wife is running that. There is nothing wrong with that. Nigerians, that's what I'm saying. There is nothing wrong with that.
But when you make case for this, it begs the question. You said there is nothing wrong with that. Then you have about 300 something public office holders in the National Assembly. If everybody start using their influence to corner contracts and saying they are no longer in business, but they are using their company they left behind to collect contracts, then there will be no Nigeria. Well, don't you think we should start one politician? Anybody who happens to, whether still active or not, anything related to it must not have business with government, must not do contract with government.
The idea is this: I am not averse to what you just said. Yeah. Now that if you are in government, stay away from doing business in governance.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong in that.
Yeah.
But the idea is there is nothing wrong also in my company, a professional company, getting jobs. He is not paying himself. He has 100 people employed. Let the company go ahead, source for money, make some profit, and pay those people. By extension, he is feeding Nigerians because he has employed people. If it was a case, that is the case I am trying to draw to every Nigerian. If it is a political jobber, if he gets the money, he is going to keep him to himself and his family alone. Because he doesn't have any operational base. But when a man has an operational base, he has people he has employed. If you employ 100 people, you know the domino effect? We are talking about 500 to 1,000 people. That their wives, their kids will be in school, and then something is done along those lines. That is what we should look at. And like I said, it is a learning process. Whoever is involved as we speak. It is now we are talking about Bumi Ojo. There are a lot of others doing the same thing.
Exactly.
This is the time for them to learn. Life is a learning process. This is the time for them all to learn that there is due process in everything. And as human beings, there is no way. We say it in Yoruba, if you give a man a hoe to till the soil, where will he till it to?
To his side.
He will till it to himself.
Yeah.
That is what is happening to all of them. You and I inclusive. If we are given a hoe to till the soil, you will till it.
And that is what is killing the country. Because you are not looking at
that is where we have to
look at the selfish interest.
That is where, like you rightly said,
and that's why Bumi is selfish.
We have to draw a line there. That line has never been drawn properly. With this that is on ground, that line will now be drawn properly. It brings us back to the element of what's this woman's name?
Yeah.
That element of due process. I am a due process person.
Yeah.
It is now for us to learn and then dance according to due process. That is the essence of it.
You know, this raises a lot of questions.
Of course.
Especially when you look at, because a lot of people will talk about the antecedent of Bumi Ojo when he was in our National Assembly, and the issue of the mic. He was the chairman of Nigeria. They would look at him. Is Bumi Ojo that clean?
Are you that clean?
That is the problem. Because when the issue like this crop up, you try to look at his antecedent, where it's coming from. This guy does not look like somebody, no matter what he's doing, just like he said, he's the star boy of this administration. But his past is dirty. His past
no, don't use that word.
Okay, let me rephrase it. It's not like the saint we are portraying.
No, but I am not a saint.
So when you look at all these indices, you're also asking yourself, we cannot say we should just whisk away his past because of what some of these because of what
I concur to what you're saying.
So
there are some instances. Yeah. Sorry to jump in.
Yeah.
There are some instances. I've been at fora where I deliver papers and the rest of them, and I keep telling people there is no perfect situation anywhere. 1, 2. In as much as the devil is still alive, we are all living in a wicked world. Yeah. Little wonder there is that element of right and wrong. And there is that element of, oh, I have made a mistake here. I will make sure that mistake does not recur. What we're saying now is, we have a systemic situation.
The mistake, correct that mistake, is to tell you to go.
That is not your prerogative. That's the prerogative of Mr.
Is that
President.
not how to punish people, to make them?
That is the prerogative. If the Mr. President finds him wanting, yeah, Mr. President will tell him to go home. I did not.
So you don't think Bumi Ojo should be told to step? Tunji Ojo should be told to step aside.
I am not Mr. President. Make me the president, and I'll tell you what I'll do.
Interesting, right there. When we're talking with Bola Bakare on the issue about the crisis, the Betta Gate issue, and the role of Tunji Ojo in the whole scheme of things, right there. But definitely, before I let him go, I must ask him this question in the light of all these things and the shot taken by the president. Talking about Bola on Betta Eju and the other lady who was also given the vote. Do you think he's portraying the administration in good light?
Good. I like that question. Situations like this are situations that gives us a better way forward. While you were in school, examinations were set for you. Little wonder, some go to school, they make first class, some 2-1, some 2-2, some 3. It depends on your aptitude to what is happening. This is an examination for the administration. Yeah. Let us just sit back and see what the administration is going to do. Then we will be able to tell the people that, oh, we voted for you. You are not doing what we want. But as we speak, let us give Mr. President that prerogative of either sacking the man in question or keeping him there.
If he's found wanting, will you advise him to be given the vote?
You're trying to put words in my mouth.
If he's found wanting.
If he is found wanting by the agencies of government, so be it. So be it.
Okay, you heard it right there. If he's found wanting, we'll continue to put him to the test to see whether he can really be able to get the job done right there. Tunji Ojo is facing it right now, following the Betta Gate issue. And let's see how further investigation will be carried out to see also get to the bottom of it. But it's important, just like he said, you will learn from this, and so future public administrators, they also must be careful. And I think it's also sending a message going forward what the government should do, especially if you are in government. There's no government has no business doing business.